Hello guys, Roxanne here. Today I'm going to show you a way to implement this new splash screen API that Google recommends us to use rather than our old way of showing splash screens. Okay, now guys, stick around until the end of the video. We have a cool announcement to make. Okay, now guys, as you can see, I have imported the library here. Now we are going to navigate to res values styles where all the work will happen. Okay, now here all these lines of code, you can find them in the documentation of the splash screen API. Just remember the theme name, which is important. Okay, for now here is the background, Windows splash screen background, which you can choose any background you prefer. It depends on your app. Okay, now this splash screen animation icon is the icon that will be shown in the middle. Is now the splash screen icon. For now I'll just show an example, because this splash screen API happens to scratch out the icons. Now I'll just show an example. From there I will show you the correct way. Okay, now this is now the branding image. The branding image, you need to override the v31, which will work only, it will only show on Android 12 and higher, and then you can just remove it here. The branding image is the image that will be shown at the bottom of the screen. For now I'm just having an example of a picture that I designed. Okay, now the splash screen animation duration is just for the animated icon. We don't need that. Okay, now the post splash screen theme is also important, guys, which means it's the theme that will be applied to your screen that follows the splash screen just after the splash screen. If your theme is it's a main activity or a login activity, this is the theme that will be applied there. As for my example here, it's a app theme dot no action bar. It's just a theme that doesn't have an action bar and a title bar. Okay, now in there, as you can see, I applied that theme in there in the manifest as the theme. Okay, now the main activity for my case, now it's the launcher activity, so I will have to apply that splash theme, which is the splash screen. Okay, now as you can see, remember the name, theme dot splash theme, which is the one that I applied there. Okay, now from there you need to, in your activity where you implement the splash screen, just need to write that line of code which will install the splash screen. For some reason, weird reason, it's showing red if you implement it, so you need to import that line of code. It will show red, but it will still just work properly. It will just work correctly, guys. You don't need to worry that much. Okay, now this block of code is just for, it's a on pre-throw listener, which will, if you have some background work that you want to finish before removing the splash screen, then you can implement this block of code. For now I will just have a method that will have a handler that will just delay the splash screen for some seconds, even 7 seconds. Then I will just change the value of is ready to true, which initially it's false. Okay, now as you can see, I will just, the initial value is false. Now if is ready is true, then the splash screen will be removed. Now I just call this method here. Okay, now let's try to run and check it out, guys. Okay, let me just reopen it. Just wait a bit, my emulator is lagging a bit, guys. Remember, this is just an example, then we'll just show you the right way. Okay, you can see now the images are stretched out and they are just looking ugly, and it's just not cool, guys. Okay, now I'll show you the right way. Now you can just use any photo editing software. It can be Adobe, Photoshop, or Illustrator, or whatever. For now, you just need to make a square, as you can see in the video, and then the round, which is the icon, must be 150 by 150 pixels. Just focus on the dimension, guys. And then the square must be 240 by 240 pixels, and then the square must be the same color as the background. It depends on what your background is, then the square must be the same color. And then the icon can be anything, guys, but just make sure that it just fit in that 150 by 150 pixels, as you can see in my example here. And then you need to group them. Just enter them quickly, and I will just group them. And then now for the branding image, the rectangle must be 200 by 280, and this is not like official, guys, but for me this is the way that it seems to be working fine. It's just showing the icons correctly without being stretched out and all that. And inside your branding image, you can put anything you want, but just make sure that you group them also together. You can put any icon you want. And here's the important part, guys. You need to export them as SVG, which is vector assets. That's the trick. Then they will render correctly. Okay, let me just rename this to splash screen icon, and these two branding icon. Give us a sub, guys. We really will appreciate a sub, guys, as we are growing this channel. Okay, now I change it to SVG, which is vector asset. Okay, now I'm going to export them. From there, I'm going to import them in Android Studio. Okay, just stick with me, guys. I'm just going to import them in my project. For me, that's the way that seems to be working correctly. It's not really an official way, because the documentation is showing some sizes, but really I tried all those sizes. As you can see in the first example, I tried random sizes okay, now we are going to import them as vector assets. Now navigate to where you saved your SVGs and select them. As you can see, there is my splash icon, which is 240 by 240. And I tested this on most of my devices, and they are just rendering correctly. They're just showing correctly. Okay, now I will just import the branding image. Okay, now as you can see, there they are. Now we just change it to the new one that we imported from the old examples. Okay, now I will just change them in the V31 styles, because my emulator is running Android 12, but for your production app you must change them in both. Okay, now I did change them to the ones that we imported now. which are vector assets. Now we're gonna see how they will render. Okay, now just bear with me guys, my computer is a little bit slow. Okay, now they have just installed, but it seems it did pass the split screen. Okay, I'm just going to close it and rerun it again. Okay, just give me a few seconds here guys. Now, but for the emulator, it will also show a little bit pixelated icons. It's just because of it's an emulator. You know how emulators show. Yes, there you can see it guys, how they are correctly rendered. They are not even stretched out and all those ugly ways that the first ones were shown. Okay, now go build something awesome now. Okay, now guys, just remember just the dimensions that are important. The dimensions and the file type, which is vector asset, which is SVG. Just make sure that you export them in that file type, and the dimension guys, which are way too important. Okay, now guys, as for the cool announcement, we are releasing a new series of a wallpaper app that is built in Flutter and using Firestore as a backend system. We only need 1K sub guys, then we'll be dropping this cool. As you can see, it's having pagination there, showing a cool animation when the pagination is being loaded. It's also having a authentication system for your Firestore rules, so that you can protect your data and all that. And it's also having cool caching system, so that we cannot, every time we load data, so that we cannot load data from Firestore. Most of the picture will be just cached in these caching systems. It's having tons of cool features guys. You only need 1K subs, 1000 subs, then we'll be dropping this cool series of a wallpaper app that is built in Flutter with Firestore. As you all know, pagination in Firestore, it's a pain in the ass, but we managed to get it, managed to implement it. But as you can see, we are using the new version of Flutter, and which is no safety and everything. So just give us 1K sub guys, then we'll be dropping this series in no time. And all the videos are pre-recorded and we are halfway there, and the GitHub page is all set. So we just need 1K subs and we'll be dropping this cool series of this app guys. As you can see, it's having that cool animation at the bottom when you are paginating. It's a cool app guys. Just give us that subs and we'll be dropping it. Peace out.